Hey folks, how you doing? It's Jeff C. I'm here. It is Friday, November the 9th, 2018. I hope you're all doing well. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update on some of what has been transpiring. Like I did a video on this particular article here a few days ago when I first caught wind. So we're November the 9th. It's November the 2nd. Of course, as you see, it's okay to be white, and hate messages showing up on the University of Manitoba campus. And oh man, when I probably did a 45-minute to an hour long sort of really angry rant to this article. And right after I finished it, I was like, I can't upload this, not to YouTube, because I know exactly what would happen. I would get censored. I would be labeled bullying and hate speech by the YouTube community, and I'd be playing right into their hands. It's a bit difficult. It's a little bit difficult. It's very difficult to do this type of work these days. It seems like when it comes to the major social network platforms, so what we have is an amalgamation of all the internet sort of platforms that are out there, and just like you have with the corporatocracy, these giant sort of media conglomerates swallowing all the smaller media conglomerates. Well, you have the same thing with social media now. And so, like, it's either Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, right? Like, it's a very, very, very awful and dangerous precedent that is happening here. And it is going to be used, as it is right now, to wipe out freedom of speech. So what we have in Canada is a destruction, complete dismantling of freedom of speech. Same thing has happened in the United States. There is a coordinated attack against the American Constitution that has been ongoing for the past 20, 30 years, and they are dismantling the American Constitution. And they by hook or by crook, they are trying to wipe out freedom of speech. And it can be no more apparent than on this particular article. If you just look at the title and you look at the image that is presented, it tells you so much about what we are all suffering from and who, well, I mean, maybe it doesn't tell you exactly who's directly responsible, but I think most people that would follow my work would know exactly who is responsible for this and what their objectives are. This cultural Marxism that is being used as a weapon to destroy the majority and to just cause all kinds of chaos and ultimately destroy freedom of speech and take away people's rights to defend themselves. The cultural conditioning through all the Hollywood productions and television shows, programming people into hating patriotism, hating, white people, hating gun owners, hating, preppers and all the like patriots. It's a full-on attack, and it's so, man, it's such a challenge. We had our golden era where we were able to directly confront the corporate media and call them out for their shenanigans. And they have closed that on us collectively as people who would question the official narratives. And really, I think in many ways, that's why the work that I do and people that do this type of work is the most important work, because everything else is just part of their deception. So when I come down hard on the Sargoyev Mossads, the Dix Rectum Jammers, the Mr. Medicures, all these characters that have no purpose other than to keep people in, Jordan B. Peterson, people like that, have no purpose other than to keep people in the left-right paradigm. It's because ultimately that is their control system, that the real objective of myself, and I imagine many people that do this type of work, is to shatter that illusion, shatter that left-right paradigm, shatter the legitimacy of the corporate media and the alternative media at the same time, and tell people, look, you shouldn't believe anything that they're putting up. You shouldn't believe anything. I cannot, in this era, even talk about, say, these shootings. Like, I can't do a live show, you see what happens. The last two major shootings that I tried to do a report on, I was shut down, like one of them 10 minutes into the broadcast, and the last one, I don't know, 45 minutes into the broadcast. Which means, of course, I'm being monitored. Now, that should tell you a lot about the people that are able to report on these things and have no censorship coming in. Why are they so concerned about little old me, right? That I have to be shut down? Well, it's because of what I'm saying. That's why. Because of what I'm saying. They don't want that illusion shattered. See, the whole trick is just to keep people engaged in their manipulations. So they don't want, like when a story comes out, whether it's a shooting or it's a sexual abuse or whatever it is, right? One of these big stories that is circulating is the story of the week or the day or whatever. They just want you to pick a side. They don't want you to question the legitimacy of the said event. And that is what they're trying to annihilate, is people, skeptics like myself, who come in and say, wait a second, don't pick a side. Whatever you do, don't pick a side. Stand back and look and say, wait a second, what makes you think this is actually happening? What makes you think this isn't part of their machinations? Since we know that they have such utter control over what we discuss. The importance of this work can't be overestimated, really. I think it is crucial to people out there to try to reach as many people as possible and to say, look, you have to apply critical thought to everything that you see. You have to. They don't teach this. Most people, like people that think they're smart, people that have degrees and, are consider themselves well-read and stuff like that, they're not really smart. They're not, because they don't possess critical thought. And that is the huge obstacle that we have. If, say, 90 or 80% of humanity possess critical thought, none of this would be happening. None of it would, because everything would be analyzed. Everything would be like, well, wait a second, who's this coming from? Who wrote this article? What's the history of this network? What are the other things that are going on? Why are there so many of these stories? So if we look, it's okay to be white. What's going on with this, right? Like, why is that considered hate speech? How on earth could that be considered hate speech? If I put up and it's okay to be black or it's okay to be a homo, would that be considered hate speech? Of course not, because the people that run our little world, or at least our neck of the woods, want to turn everyone against the majority. And so it's very frustrating for me to come in and say, I can smash to smithereens many of these events and many of these shenanigans, but then I get censored and I can't do my work. And then you could say, well, you could go to this platform. Well, then I'll get censored on that platform. Or I can go to a platform that nobody really wants to spend much time on, or, it requires me to try to get everyone to go over and go to this other platform, which I've done multiple times throughout my career. Now nearly 7 years of doing this work, that and it never really seems to work, because if I go to a different platform that I can still be able to speak and say these things, it just seems like the audience doesn't come, and it kind of feels like shouting at the wind kind of thing, like like you don't know what you're reaching. Like I used to do shows on D Live, and it would say like there's 1,500 or 2,000 people listening, but it would feel like there's like 6. Because there'd be like 6 people in the chat. So I'm like, can I even, am I really reaching anybody? Or is this shenanigans? Is this just make-believe sort of thing? So it's very difficult. I think we had a window, and we really went to town and knocked it out of the park sort of thing. And we had a massive effect, like we really did, and especially YouTube. I mean, much of what has happened on YouTube and on social media platforms is a direct result of the type of work that we did. The fact that, look, you can go on YouTube now and you can say, hey, we're not a planet, the earth is flat, you live in a dome, CERN is opening portals to Uranus. You can say all these silly things that have no basis in reality, And YouTube's like, that's awesome. That's awesome. Here you can have a podcast 24/7 going on for years on end. You can raid other people's chats. You can do all this stuff. We don't care. That's awesome. But you can't question the media. You can't question the validity of a story. And that should tell you everything. That's the whole thing. They don't want the illusion shattered. That's why they put their Dix Rectum Jammers, 666s, and their Sargoyev Mossads and all these characters, because, you know, Stefan Molyneux, Paula Josephine Twatson, Mark Schuldeis, all these characters who are utter shills. I mean, they're terrible human beings. They're people that I have absolutely no respect for, and I would love to confront, you know, one-on-one kind of thing to tell them exactly what I think of what they're doing. I hate dishonest people. Like, dishonest people, that's to me is a bad person. I hate dishonesty. I hate people that would manipulate people. I hate that people would consciously, you know, try to take people for a ride and then do it over and over again. I think Alex Jones is a perfect example of a complete sociopathic fucking shit-stained shill from hell who is so used to manipulating his audience. I mean, he's been lying since day one. It's second nature. They can lie. I know people like this in my own life. And I'm sure you do too. I'm sure you know people that will tell you lies that you know are lies, and they'll double down, triple down on those lies, that if you try to call them out, they'll get even angrier. And how dare you question what I say, even though you know that they're not being honest. And I think that's what happens with so many of these characters is that they're just not good human beings to begin with. They're not honest people. And of all the things you can do, I mean, there's a lot of things that you could do, say, within the media that would be relatively benign, all right? I mean, like if you're doing tech reviews or something like that, right? I mean, yeah, okay, maybe the tech's being used to spy. Maybe you're not doing enough information, providing enough information on what other things the tech is doing and how we should be cautious of how it's being used to monitor us and all that shit. But, you know, you're not manipulating people's minds and you know, programming them into action like what we have with these, Battle of Berkeley's and shit like that. These characters that are telling you to go out and protest, to go pick a side and, you know, make a sign and arm yourself and go out and do these things. That is just pure evil because it's total manipulation of so we like what I guess what I'm trying to say with that is that in the alternative media, the fake alternative media, there are terrible people, like really awful people who are deceiving their followers. So it's a very difficult time, and I don't want to sound like a broken record because I probably said this many times before. The frustration of trying to do this type of work, and because like I like to take the gloves off, I like to, you know, really smash like I did with this particular video. I was relentless. I ripped this thing to shreds. I was saying to Canadians, how is it possible that you're paying, that we're all paying for this corporation to come and program people into hating the majority? How is it possible that the 75% of their income is coming from the people that they're trying to wipe out with their beige horizon and all that? I was really, really upset. And I know who's responsible. I showed who's responsible in previous videos, who's behind the CBC, and I can't even upload that video to YouTube because I know exactly what would happen. I know exactly what would happen. So I'll probably upload it to DTube or DLive or something like that. Maybe I'll upload it to BitChute and start off. And but I understand how they're doing this, and I hope you can see it. I'm sure most of you do see exactly what they're doing, how they're setting the tables. And what we're going to see, unfortunately, over the next decade or so, is just a complete Orwellian sort of surveillance state coupled with a complete destruction of freedoms, our freedoms. Like the people, when W said they hate our freedoms, yeah, they do. They hate our freedoms. Who? Not the guys in Afghanistan, not the Obama Sin Ladens, not those guys, not those fucking imaginary cartoonish characters that they create. The banksters themselves. They hate our freedoms, and they want them destroyed. They want us to not have an ability. They don't care about saving lives. That's the biggest pile of bullshit ever. The biggest pile of bullshit ever is like, we're going to save lives, right? We got to save lives. We're going to save the children. Do you think they give a flying fuck? They're killing hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, probably fucking 5-10 million a year just through abortions around the world, sort of thing. I don't even know what the numbers are. 350,000 a year in the United States alone. Imagine how many abortion clinics they're opening in Africa and Europe and everywhere else. So they don't care about lives. They're killing them like they're going out of style. So all these March for Our Lives and all these things are just, I mean, it's total bullshit. It's total bullshit. They're trying to destroy our freedoms. And they want us to not be able to defend ourselves. They want us to not have the ability to question anything that they're up to. They want people like me just wiped out. They don't want us to have any influence. They don't want us to have any reach. And that's why I'm the most censored channel in YouTube history. When I was gonna do, like, I knew when I was gonna do the podcast on the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting, I knew that there was a really strong chance they were gonna shut me down. Like, I knew that, but I went ahead anyways because I'm a fighter. I want to, like, this is what I do. What happened? I got shut down. Now, the interesting thing was I had 3 copyright strikes on my other channels that were done within a day, just before this thing went down, including 2 on Fake News Report. 2 copyright strikes instantly, the day before the frickin' shooting went down. What does that tell you? It tells you they probably, and I made the channel Jeff Censored live just so I could be able to do that. I think there's one video on Jeff Censored live because I got shut down immediately. It kind of defeats the purpose of the channel. So my speculation, which I think is warranted, is that they purposely hit me just before the shooting went down because they knew that I would, being the person I am, would do a report on it and, would poke holes in it. And they just don't want anybody like me to be able to do this stuff. So then the whole thing is like, well, how? Like, how do we do it? How do we win? Because if you go to the small platforms that nobody's watching, well, basically nobody's watching. And if only your audience comes over, right? So say I'm on D Live and it's just my audience, and it's not even the full audience. It's just the people that, have gotten the message and, have the time and, because a lot of people just don't even want to bother with new platform. Then what's the purpose almost, right? So that's why I say, like, well, I got to kind of stay on YouTube because if I don't, I won't be able to reach people out there. And plant seeds and all that. So what am I saying here then is that I think as a podcaster or a producer on YouTube, I'm not going to be covering the shootings and the bombings and stuff like that, or the false flags or whatever you want to call them, hoaxes. I won't be able to do that here anymore. Now, maybe I'll look at doing those types of shows on a different platform, but then it even becomes a problem because let me explain this to you. I get community guideline strikes for uploading a video saying, hey everybody, that big event that happened, I'm going to be over on D Live and I'm going to be doing it there. Come and follow the link in the description. I get copyright strike on that. And they say you're not allowed to do that, even though all the popular YouTubers do it all the time. Like Angry Joe will put up videos all the time saying live on Twitch. It's a direct competitor of YouTube. All the popular YouTubers do this all the time. But selectively, whatever their guidelines, whatever can be applied or used to me. So they don't want me to have even the ability to inform my audience that I'm doing a show. So the only way I'd be able to inform the audience is through Twitter. And not a lot of people follow me on Twitter. I mean, yeah, I might have a few thousand followers, but most of them are just people that are looking for follows and shit like that sort of thing. So It's not like, you know, I might have like 100 or so people that might actually get the message or something like that. So it's a real difficult time to do this. And it can be you know, it feel, you know, like, it's like getting a punch in the stomach, you know. It's like you feel some momentum, you know, you're getting some audience, people are really appreciating your work, and then boom, boom, you get a couple copyright strikes, you can't go live, you know, everything that you're doing, the momentum, all that's fucking thrown off the rails. And there's no way to compete. I mean, small people alone in their, you know, in their office or their computer, you know, that have no connections, no government support, no frickin', you know, not part of any operation. There's no way that you can really stand up to this. It's a really bad time for freedom of speech, I'd have to say. Even when we were, I mean, we were getting censored a lot back when, you know, the big events were happening. I lost a lot of channels and a lot of videos, but it's nothing like today. Like today, you can't even mention these things. Like if I was to mention a certain shooting, there's a strong chance that this video would be pulled. Just even mentioning it. That's how bad it is now. And yet the problem of, you know, like how, you know, the conundrum that you're in is like, you've got to reach more people. You got to reach average people. But if you go to a, you know, fly by night sort of platform, you're not going to be able to reach those people. And then if you stay on the main platforms, they're going to hit you and censor you and then prevent you from, you know, being able to reach the audience. So back when these events used to happen, we would rise to the top of the algorithms. Like the searches would come in and people would be like finding people like myself, Red Silver J, Truth Media Films, all these great, you know, media skeptics that would be ripping shit and really helping people. And that's over. I mean, they've fucking wiped that out. You know, you're going to get ABC, NBC, MSNBC, you know, the dumb turds, fucking CNN. They have really arranged the decks on the tables or the chairs and all that, and completely changed everything here. So it's a different era, and unfortunately, at this point, it's going to be very difficult. So the way that we can maybe counteract this is to try to work a little bit more together, to try to have, you know, just networks of people that will support each other. And I mean, that's what we tried to do in the past too. And then, you know, that caused all kinds of trouble as well. Ah, man, I don't want to sound defeated at all. I fully believe in the work that I do. I mean, I couldn't believe it more. I think the work that I do is among some of the most important work being done in the media, because it's questioning and getting people to think critically on the stories themselves, then rather than just, you know, react, which is what they want, and pick a side sort of thing. So it's a never shifting sort of game, and it's very, very difficult that this phase has come about, and we have to fight for freedom of speech. It's very, very important. We have to fight for our right to bear arms. It's very, very important. These are rights that once they're gone, you're gonna have to go and fight to get them back. And when I mean fight, that doesn't mean, you know, showing up with a picket sign or something. I mean, you're talking probably revolution at some point, because they're just going to wipe it all out. So we have to do our best to stop what is going on. And this might even come down to like word of mouth. I mean, it might even come down to like just, you know, passing CDs or something, DVDs to people on street corners. Like it might get that bad, and it might already be at that stage where, you know, there's just no way to reach people. So we have to try our best. That's all. And I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep coming. And one of the things, of course, that I am doing, and that I haven't been able to work on this week because I've had family issues, and I had a big freaking migraine that I had to deal with and shit like that, but which is the music videos that are all going to come out on the themes of the New World Order. And I imagine those will get censored heavily as well, but I'll try to upload them to all these different platforms and see if there's some way that, that we can get these things to see as many, or get as many people to see these videos as possible, so that the agendas of the New World Order and what they're trying to accomplish are clearly laid out, so that it would encourage and foster people to use critical thought, to think outside the box, to extract themselves from the left-right paradigm, and to really, really think about who's running the show and what their objectives are. So we're going to do our best. That's all I'm going to say. I really, really wish I could do a live show. I mean, there's nothing I enjoy more than doing live shows. It's my bread and butter. I think I'm really good at it, and I think that's one of the things that is most helpful, and I think most of my audience really enjoys that. I mean, it's fun to be able to go on to a show that's going live and interact directly with people and interact directly with the audience. But that's really difficult too. The way that it's gone, sort of thing. It just gets more and more difficult. So we have to come up with different solutions and all that. I'm probably going to be saying to you very soon, you got to sub this channel. You're going to have to sub this channel. Like going back to the old method of creating all kinds of backups and getting everybody to subscribe to as many as possible. As a way of circumnavigating this type of incessant sort of censorship. But the problem with that is that the people that are assigned to watch me are doing the same thing. So if you've got people that have the power to take down anything, and they're watching my work very closely, and they see, well, he's talking about this, shut it down. He's getting this out, shut it down. So what I'm thinking is that here on YouTube, I might be more effective in being a critic of the of what is popular on YouTube, like I've done with the James Charles and some of the music videos and showing that. Like I think that might be an area where I could maybe avoid a lot of the censorship, but also maybe reach more of a mainstream audience and get them to question, because I think a lot of what their entertainment and their gaming and their music is showing is what they're doing to humanity, and how they're transforming us, and how they're attacking our fertility and programming us and all that. So I'm going to be trying to do more of that on YouTube, and I definitely am not going to be doing breakdowns of shootings, unfortunately. And I know I'm one of the best at doing that, and because I've had so much experience. Like I can look at a shooting with a sharper and more experienced sort of outlook, because I know the patterns. I've covered so many of them. But unfortunately, that's not allowed anymore on these major platforms, and so there's no point in me doing them. I hope you know what I think of them. I try to express, clearly what I think about these things and what I know that they're being used for. But I cannot do these breakdowns anymore. It will not be tolerated. Now, if I can find an alternative platform that would allow me, and would at the same time allow me to reach a lot more people, and then we'll take it from there. But right now, it just seems like that is an impossibility. So I'm going to try to focus more on the New World Order agendas and how they are transforming humanity, and what they're doing. The emergence of the surveillance state, the LGBT depopulation, eugenics, the transhumanism, it's just, there's so much that's coming. And as far as the media fakery goes, I'll stick more to the mainstream, maybe covering the Me Too type things, the massive sort of attacks on the patriarchy, the destruction of the family nucleus. These are all incredibly important, and arguably more important than the shootings and the bombings and stuff like that. Like arguably these are bigger things. So I'm not going to feel, as long as I can do that type of work here, I'm going to feel that it's very important and very beneficial to humanity. I mean, there's a reason why I called my old channel and my Patreon page still called New World Agenda, which I think is was such an awesome name for what I do, because it was about, hey, it's the New World Order. These are the agendas, and this is what they're doing to humanity. And that's I'm very proud of the work that I did on New World Agenda, as well as Free Radio Revolution, and of course Fake News Report before all those things were taken down. And I think Jeff Censored now, it's touch and go. We're gonna see how it goes. If I continue to get strikes, I'm just gonna have to jump to another channel and focus completely on I hope that you understand how difficult this is. I'm sure most people do, and I hope that you understand how passionate I am and how committed I am to trying to reach people. And hopefully, more people could come and support me on Patreon. That would help me a lot. It would help me a lot to be able to pay the bills that I need to pay to be able to do this work. And so, if you can and you haven't yet supported me, anything that you could give, I mean, even if it's $1 or $2 a month, it certainly helps a lot. And there are times where I will not be uploading things for a period for whatever reason, but I always try to make up for it. And just like the live shows, Jeff C. and Friends, like I'm looking forward to when Supreme Lord Commander is free, and as soon as that's free, I'll start hosting shows right away, like as soon as it's free. And then the first thing I would do is Jeff C. and Friends, because I love doing those shows. Like those are my favorite, really, to be able to interact with friends and supporters, and to discuss whatever, wherever the conversation goes. I absolutely adore those, and I have such tremendous respect. I feel like I'm so blessed to have such an intelligent audience, and the people that support me, and the people that help me do this type of work, because I get a lot of help. I get a lot of people showing me things, and I get constructive criticism. I get just I'm very, very blessed in that way. So anyway, so I wanted to just say these things. I'm gonna look to upload the It's Okay to Be White psyop on maybe BitChute. Maybe that'll be my first BitChute video. It's a big, long video. It's pretty angry. It's very passionate. It's one of these things that, it just, if you want something that really triggers me, it's these types of shenanigans and what they're ultimately trying to do. And everyone should be outraged. The CBC should be, people should be showing up with torches and pitchforks. No joke. The CBC should be done. It should be over with. We should never ever allow this type of indoctrination into New World Order. This attack on the majority. This blatant racism. This blatant fucking selective racism. And we know who's responsible. We know who's directly responsible and what their objectives are. I'm sure everybody here knows that. And if you don't feel free to leave a question. If you don't understand who it is, go ahead and ask the question below. I'm sure many people will come in and help you understand who is responsible. The people you're not allowed to talk about, you're not allowed to talk about the people that run the West, basically, the New World Order. So, it's very difficult. Anyway, so I remain committed, fully committed to trying to help humanity. As far as I see it, I'll never stop doing this type of work until I'm dead. I just have to roll with the punches. We're not in control. We're not winning the show. It's humanity at this point is losing, and but it's not over. And sometimes, you can be a victim of your own success. So sometimes the people that are succeeding with all their objectives and dividing everybody, that eventually, there's a balance that comes into play, and eventually people snap back, sort of thing. And that's what I'm hoping before the brain chips come in, kind of thing, and it's game over. Because the brain chips are going to be a game changer. But yeah, we're going to do our best. And as I said, continue to reach people one-on-one. Continue to challenge people one-on-one. I think there's a way to do it without severing bonds and destroying friendships and family. I think there's a way to do it. Maybe. I think every person is different though, so that's difficult. As far as giving people physical information, I mean that would be something. I mean, if a DVD kind of thing could be made, or even just a like a small sort of transferable card or something where you could stack all this information about all these things that have been uncovered, and all the things that people should be questioning, including the New World Order itself, and the history and how they've been building all this up to create this global sort of control system and the depopulation and all that. That would be a really useful thing. So there's a lot of different ideas out there. We're not finished, folks. So don't take this as it's just being punched in the stomach many times and having to, when you fall down, you get back up. That's the whole thing, right? You fall down, get back up right away. Don't stay on the ground. Don't allow yourself to be kicked into the dirt, sort of thing. Get up and fight. Get up and okay, and if you get hit, you roll with the punches. You're like, okay, I got hit, I'm gonna swing, I'm gonna move to the left, I'm gonna counter with my jab, overhand right, sort of thing. Like you gotta be creative. So I remain committed, and I am a half full, glasses half full type of guy. I've always been a positive person, and I'm very positive about the work that I do, and the people that support me. That is not changed at all. So I just want to let you know all that. I felt it was important to come in and to talk about this. And as far as how we're going to do it, I mean, that's the difficulty, is like how, say if I'm uploading a very important video and I'm putting on BitChute or I'm putting on DTube or something like that, how would I let you know that? I can't make a video on YouTube to let you know, because they'll hit me. So that's a problem. So that's something that we're going to have to figure out how we can do this. But what I would say is, everyone follow me on Twitter at Free Radio Revolu, right? Ending on the U, all one word. And on Patreon. Now, if you follow me on Patreon, you will always be up to date on everything. So maybe you're not rich. Maybe you're just, but maybe you can afford a couple bucks a month. Well, if you can throw a couple bucks a month at me, you can follow me on Patreon. That means whatever I put up, you'll get for sure, 100%. Like, you'll find it, whether it's on DTube or DLive or BitChute or on YouTube. So that would ultimately be the best, and then you'd be helping me, and I need that help. Like I don't, like, if I was rich and all that, I would definitely say no worries. But I did 5 years and I never made a cent, so it is important for me to get some financial sort of backing to be able to continue to do this. So huge thanks to all my audience, everyone, and you guys are awesome. We're gonna keep fighting the best that we can, and we're gonna try to offer as many solutions as possible at the same time, and try to make this as positive as possible in these negative times, and try to just really navigate these treacherous waters like salty fucking sea dogs, right? Like, just the experience, the having gone through all this shit, the maelstroms and everything else that have come in our way, we're pretty crafty, I think, as people that do this work, and we're always having to change our game, but we find ways. So much thanks to all of you, and if you can, come and support me. My Patreon link will be in the description. Every little support really helps. And I'll see you guys all on the next one, and hopefully we'll be able to do some live shows real soon. Thanks so much for listening. Have a wonderful day and an awesome weekend. Thanks.